Hey NAI football fans, this is Cory with another edition of the NAI F-Ball podcast powered by AdCraft USA. These guys are our presenting sponsors for yet another year, and they're NAI-made players, fans, and family who are experts in the apparel and merchandise world. AdCraft allows you to take the hassle out of ordering. Let their knowledgeable design and customer service staff handle everything from hosting the store online, shipping, and helping your customers if they have questions, so you can get back to the game. Find them online at adcraftusa.com and adcraftwebstores.com. All right, guys, tonight to start off our off-season podcasts, we have the first team in quite a while from the KCAC, whose name is not Kansas Wesleyan or Bethel, to make the playoffs, and the first one to go in with Kansas Wesleyan as a second team from the KCAC, Southwestern's Brad Griffin. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Just great. Appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely. So looking here at the stats, I notice, one, you've got three quarterbacks returning here in Luke Barnes, Thomas Yam, and as we talked about a little bit off the air, you're bringing Brad Cagle back. Talk to me about your quarterback room specifically coming back next year.
Well, all three are just great people. Number one, and they played a big part of this last year. And Brad goes back to 20, and unfortunately got hurt in the spring and really didn't get cleared till midway through the year, and wanted to be able to play a full season. So we were able to play him in a couple games this past year, and so yeah, we'll have a very talented group. Luke obviously was unbelievable for us this year, and then unfortunately got hurt. I believe it was week 5 or 6, and knocked him out for the rest of the year. And Thomas actually stepped in and did a great job of, won some big games for us, and played pretty well in the playoff game as well. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a good spot to be in with depth. We'll definitely have a decision to make, and I think it's easy to say that right now, but I don't see us being two systems and playing multiple quarterbacks or anything like that. We're gonna have to make a decision to see who wins that out, in August. But I think they're all very supportive of each other, and ultimately they just want to win. So, but they're very, very good guys, good players, and the team supports those guys too. So that helps a lot.
On the guys around them, you've got Jackie Coleman, Keyshawn Jones, Andre Jones, Lake Hoffman, all coming back, and Aaron Garcia, not sure quite on that one. Up front, Aaron, that's what I thought. Up front on the offensive line that you've got coming back. Talk to me about the rest of your offense and growing in 20 and what you can expect from them growing in 2021. Good Lord, it's almost 2022. This football season's really got me all screwed around. And what we can expect from them in 2022.
Yeah, those, the Jones brothers and Aaron and up front, and Lake at tight end, and obviously the quarterbacks that we talked about, and Keyshawn Wyatt's going to be done. Broke the school record in rushing and had an unbelievable career. And this past year split time quite a bit with Jackie Coleman, and Jackie's going to come back and go to grad school. But so we've got a great core of guys back. We do have a few guys up front. We graduated a center, and our two tackles. We'll have our left guard back as well. But I feel like we've got to this point because we've done a really good job in recruiting. And so it's not like we just got to go out and find guys on others, through transfer portal or junior college recruiting or whatever. We have them on campus. We feel like we've got guys that are very capable to fill spots that of guys that have graduated. So recruiting is a big piece of that. I mean, that is the piece, in my opinion. we've had a lot of success because we've got really, really good players. And so, that's our mentality, next man up. And hopefully we've done a good job of developing our players. I think player development's been really good for us. And so, um, I think we've got guys on the roster that, they'll have to step up and play that haven't played a lot. But at the same time, I think that's part of it. Can we retain guys to stay in the program, even if they don't play right away, and then develop them as they're here? So, we've got a great receiving core. Josh Edson's another kid that got hurt towards the end of the year, but he'll add to the guys that we have in that group. And we've got a few young backs and some young offensive linemen. So offensively, I think we can continue to do good things as we've done the last couple of years.
Before I go to the defensive side, one thing I noticed as I was getting the numbers set up was your usage of Brad Cagle. I know you said he had been hurt and got cleared about mid-season, but I noticed his usage there, especially against Kansas Wesleyan, and that man is a coyote killer. Came out against them in 2020 in that spring season and really got the job done. And then comes out kind of off the bench, so to speak. I know you probably had him playing all week, and he knew he was starting all week. But what does Brad Cagle do so well that makes him just so effective against Kansas Wesleyan?
So we actually played Kansas Wesleyan last fall in 20 right. And beat them in the fall. That was a crazy year. I'm surprised I remember how that even went with as long, playing half the season in the fall and half the season in the spring. But anyhow, Brad was a phenomenal football player for us last year, in the COVID year, the crazy year. And then unfortunately in that spring got hurt. But the thing that, Brad's just a football player. He's throwback. He's tough. He's very athletic. He throws the ball very well. He's super football savvy and smart. I think he's one of the better players in our conference. And unfortunately, with being hurt, didn't quite wasn't ready to go at the beginning of the year. Took a little bit of time with a knee injury, and so it just he eventually started working. He was down on the scout team, and that's just the type of guy he is, trying to not only just kind of get back into it, but how can I help the team? And and we actually played him earlier against Sterling. He got in some, and Thomas was doing a phenomenal job. And actually, and the next week against, my goodness, I think Friends. It was the Friends game, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. I can't remember. Anyhow,
I happen to have your schedule pulled up, so that helps.
The week before Kansas Wesleyan, Thomas actually kind of got banged up and wasn't 100%. And he didn't practice much that week. Going into it, we knew Brad was probably going to play regardless, but had all the intentions. Thomas deserved to start for us, and had all intentions of doing so. He just wasn't quite, 100% or even 90%. So, but yeah, Brad just, like I say, he's a football player, and he's really good. He's gonna. It'll be a tough decision to make this coming fall with the success and as good as Thomas and Luke are. Brad will. It'll make it a tough decision on all of us.
Defensively, you've got a first team KCAC player at all three levels of your defense, starting on your line with Shane Rodriguez, Josh Carter at linebacker, and then Tavern Williamson at defensive back. Talk to me about what your defense is going to look like in 22 and growing into becoming a defensive power.
Yeah, I believe up front we have all of our guys back, all of our defensive linemen. We just probably like everybody else, you rotate quite a few guys there. Shane's the leader of that group. The kid is just he just plays his tail end off and just is a great leader, and he just is a football player again. Just loves football, loves coming to practice. a great student. When he first came to Southwestern as a freshman, I would not have known he was going to turn into the player that he has. He's just worked really hard for that. Along with, we got Marquise Jones and let's see, Ja'Carry Smith, and those would be some of our ends. And then Tyler Moorhead was our nose for us this year, and he rotated in with a freshman. Like I said, all those guys will be back. Josh Carter turned in to be a phenomenal player for us this year. He's been, over the last couple of years, kind of a role player, kind of do it all type of guy, but never has. He had a 3-time All-American and Grant Torgeson in front of him, so stepped right in, and we didn't skip a beat there at linebacker. And we'll graduate a couple outside guys with Drew Smith and Clayton Downham and Caleb Helsley. All three of those guys. Drew could come back, and so could Caleb, but I don't know where they're at right now. And I know Caleb plans on going to medical school, and Drew's got student teaching this spring, so we'll see. But so our linebacker crew will look differently. Again, like I said, we have guys, I think, currently in the program that will be able to step up and fill those shoes. But that front seven that we've had has been really, really good. And then in the back end, Tavion had a heck of a year picking the ball off, and he's just going to get better. Him and our other corner both just played really well for us, but are young, COVID freshmen. So sophomores, they both got a chance to play quite a bit last year. And then the secondary, Riley Havers is a senior for us, and he's actually planning on returning. And our other senior safety, Seth McManus, is graduating. So we'll look similar in the back end as well. But again, we'll have some shoes to fill there. But overall, Coach Strong is a very, very good coach, and our defense coordinator. And he seems to find a way to get those guys ready to play every week, and does a great job of schemes and being able to move guys around. We've had a few injuries this year, and it was that next man up type of mentality, and we just move some guys around or whatever. So, but yeah, we should be able to be very competitive on that side of the ball as well. Again.
So you've been at Southwestern. 2022 will be your 8th season at the helm. When you started with the Builders, they were 1-10. And it's only been the last couple years that y'all have really just kicked it into high gear. What clicked in that split 2020 season? What clicked to get y'all's program kicked into that next gear?
I think that's a good question. I think that's something that we've kind of looked at as a staff and as a team. For the prior years, would be 17, 18, and 19, we were 5-5 in the conference. And really in 19, I mean, if we would have had, because we were basically the same team in 19 as we were in 20 as far as the guys playing. For the most part, we were different at a few places, but we had a big senior group in 20. And if you have better quarterback play, nothing against the guys that were playing there, but Brad really made the difference for us in 20 at quarterback, because we've had a lot of skilled players. We've been very physical and been able to run the ball very well over the last 4 or 5 years. I've had some good skill players. Been very competitive on the defensive side. I think so. That'd be a part of it, is quarterback play. I think that's at any level. If you've got a quarterback and you can surround him with, good players, you have a chance to be successful. And then the other piece is probably with the senior group last year, and then for sure this group this year, of just buying into, I don't know if that's even like saying that, but just really trusting the process and putting your teammate before yourself, and just really loving and trusting each other. And we could go to practice, and practices were very competitive. Guys, it wasn't about themselves. It was all about what can I do to make my teammate better? What can I do to help the team win? And more of the buy-in of just believing in, hey, we've got the guys to do this. Now let's just put it all together. So a culmination of things, but if you have a good quarterback and you just trust and believe in each other and your coaches, and I think that gives you a good chance to be successful every Saturday.
I do want to know. I want to take a quick look back at your playoff game against Marian. Your defense comes out on all cylinders. Seems to want to try to help Marian set a record for the number of punts in one game. Marian does come back in the second half and edges you out in what is probably the best game of the first round, if I'm quite honest. Looking back at it, because I know you've probably reviewed the film at least, one or two times by now. What's your one big thing that you saw from your team in this playoff game?
Well, I think we belonged, number one. I think there is that question. I just being an outsider before I came to the KCAC, I think everybody kind of knows the stigma of the prior. I think Kansas Weston's done the league justice. Prior to that, Sterling had some great teams and Tabor had some great teams, but can you win in the playoffs? Can you be competitive nationally? Because an outsider looking, I was in the mid states forever with William Penn before they moved to when I came to the KCAC, we were still in the mid states, and I think that next year they went to the heart. But anyhow, I had played against Marian teams. We played against them when they won a national championship. So, I definitely felt like we belong there. Number one, I thought we were the better team. If we don't turn the ball over, we win the game, in my opinion. We fumbled in the end zone, gave them a touchdown, threw a pick on their end of the field, and we're going down to score on the other drive and fumble the ball. So, if you want to take anything out of it, is we feel like our program is in a good spot. Not just to be competitive in the KCAC, but we can be competitive nationally. And then you come out of that as on the coaching end of it, just you got to take care of the football. And if you do those things, who knows? We may have been competing and playing in the second round. Probably would have played Grandview if I looked at it. But anyhow, just like I told our kids afterwards, just very proud of them. But there's no question that we belonged there, and we proved it by being able to be as competitive as we were.
A couple things off the football field before I let you go. One of the kind of big question that I have for everybody this year. So, this will be the first time I ask it. Folks who listen week in, week out will hear this question a few times over the next few months. I'm really interested in building programs at the NAIA level, not just on the field with your players, but how do you build your program outside the lines with is there as much of a facility war in the NAI as there is in FBS football? And how do you really look at trying to better Southwestern with what you can do as a program?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're asking. I think at any level, you want to try to make the atmosphere and the place that they're at to be the best as it can be. At our level, it's probably a little tougher depending on where you're at, but being able to upgrade facilities or build new facilities and all those things, it's obviously goals. It's a goal of ours. It's something we've been trying to do for a long time here. We have plans of new locker rooms and weight room and stuff like that, but it takes time, and COVID's kind of slowed that down a little bit with prices going up, and you either got to wait for stuff to come back down or you got to fundraise more money. But so that's a piece of it, but then also just surrounding yourself with good people, just making sure that administratively that they understand what your goals are and the type of culture that you have and want within your program. And I think we've done a great job of that, of just having good people here that care about kids and want to see them be successful. And I think that's a big piece of it. And And then, like I was saying earlier, we can coach well and have all these great ideas and all that, but you got to have good players. And that's one thing that's been the biggest difference. We've been able to go out and recruit really, really good football players, not just players on the field, but sorry, but not just players on the field, but off the field. We got great students, and they go to class. And Josh Carter, for example, he's been in our program now for going on his third year, and he's had a 4.0 this entire time he's been here. And he's our starting Mike linebacker. And there's plenty of others. We've got my nephew is Drew Smith, and he's graduating with like a 3.7 GPA, and going on and doing big things and going to teach and all that. So I'm just saying it's not just the building of trying to get better on the field, but it's the whole part of it. And I think we've done a really good job of that.
The last thing before I let you go, I think the coolest thing about Southwestern is that Southwestern dares to not only have a live mascot, but they dare to have that live mascot be a cat. And I know the folks at home can't see it, but Coach Griffin is wearing Jinx on the hat tonight. Talk to me about having a live cat mascot, and having it around. I mean, does it do any cool tricks? Right. I mean, it's cat.
No. So he's in the field house, so he's in the basketball gymnasium, which they probably get to interact with him more than we do. We've talked about how sweet it would be to get him to run out with us, with the team, but he won't even leave his little area that he has. But yeah, he just roams free in the field house. So I mean, every small college has their cool, traditions or whatever, and ours just happens to be the black cat and the Jinx. And like when you see this here, this is the alumni one. We have a little bit of a newer one, but this is the one the football team's all about. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm in Wichita right now with my kids, so I wear my builder gear to make sure everybody understands where they see us and around and about. But yeah, it's a cool tradition and everything, and I think it's definitely neat. But we don't see Jinx very often, but he don't have any tricks. I mean, it's a big old. Our old AD would feed him a lot, so he's kind of he's like Garfield right now, so he doesn't get too much exercise.
So what I'm hearing is you're not going to have a kickoff cat next year.
No, unfortunately, hey, that'd be sweet though, right? Go out and get the tea, but no, this cat's not that mobile, unfortunately. But
well, Coach, yeah. I appreciate you coming on with us tonight. Just an absolute great time. Looking forward to seeing what y'all are going to be able to do and build on off of a playoff run.
No, I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys and the coverage. I know the NAI doesn't get a ton of coverage, so I know I saw you down at the championship game, and I appreciate you guys doing what you can to get our names out there and our programs and what we do here. And so just thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the NAIF Ball Podcast powered by AdCraft USA. Be sure to contact them for all your custom apparel, merch, and uniform needs. Thanks also to Mommy Bay and Turf Nation for their support of the NAIF Ball Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe to the podcast and to our YouTube channel. Leave us a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or any other podcast app that allows you to leave a rating and review. As always, if you'd like to support what we do, head over to patreon.com/NAIAFball and become a patron. We can't do what we do without support from our sponsors and listeners like you.